Hi friends, WizD here, welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. What we'll talk about today, as you saw in the thumbnail, is the 3 champions that are talked about most in Fire Knight hard teams. And the questions that we're going to answer today is, if your account level is not high enough to do Fire Knight hard, is it worth it still to max these champions for other areas in the game till you get to Fire Knight? So that's what we'll answer today. I will create 3 separate sections for the 3 separate champions that we'll talk about today. The 3 most talked about champs, Yakarl of course, everyone will get Yakarl from the clan shop, and then the 2 non-void epics, Neldor and Croidan, who fits the Fire Knight hard requirements the best. So we'll do that. Before we do this, let's have some fun. So no, not this one. I was farming Ice Golem and I got a couple of these like prism shards for this week. Who do I want out of this pool? Well, Feral can be nice. Second Mishinaki can be awesome. I already have one that's maxed. And if I get a second Mishinaki, I will not just like empower the one I have. I'll just build them for a second team. I already got Mikagi, so I don't need like Kira. And I have Steltas. I have a very strong Steltas actually that I might empower if I get a second one. So no expectation, it's just 2 prism shards from just like farming Ice Golem. So let's see. And then we'll jump into today's topic. Skull Crusher, still a strong epic because he's only one of 3 champions who can put counter attack on the whole team, increasing your damage in clan boss. Of course, with the unkillable teams and everything, his value dropped a little bit. But still, if you're early game and you get him, he can help you greatly in clan boss. Okay, 2 epics. We were not expecting much there. Yakarl was a fusion a while back. AoE stun, defense based, great 2 buffs on the team, increase defense and increase resistance, and he hits hard. So he's also a good epic if your roster is limited early on or for faction wars. Now let's talk about the 3 champions that we're here to talk about. I will talk about Yakarl first. That first section is going to be on Yakarl. I'll tell you where I think he will fit most, and I'll do the same with the other ones as well. And then we'll do some sort of a utility / damage test for all 3 of them. So Yakarl is a void epic from the barbarian faction. Everyone can get Yakarl from the clan shop. You can get him once. If you pull him from a shard, that's a pity because you'll get him from the clan shop anyways. But let's check quickly his kit and figure out how strong he is. I'll increase the light attack in all battles by 33%. If you don't need speed or accuracy or anything else, that's a very strong like attack aura. His A1 is a double hitter with a decent chance 50% of applying freeze, which is why he's good for Fire Knight. But also, if not for Fire Knight, that hits hard and it can freeze the enemy. It can block the enemy basically. His A2, which is his hardest hitting skill, as we'll see in the testing here, can apply decreased speed or freeze. If you have someone applying freeze before him, he'll hit harder. He steals thermometer. You'll build Yakarl with accuracy anyways for his control aspect. So don't build him all damage, though he does hit hard. He can be your arena nuker. And then on his A3, on a 4-turn cooldown, if the target's got more than 75% thermometer, he will just apply 100% freeze. He's void, so if you build him with enough accuracy, he won't weak hit. That's great. He can control the whole enemy team. So you can use him in arena, for example, to go after your speed booster as your control champion plus damage, because he does a good amount of damage. He is a decent damage dealer. And then his passive gives him a bit of survivability, I guess, with the unkillable. His speed is a little bit on the low side, but yeah, it's average, nothing crazy there. His attack is really high. He's attack based, so that's where he will shine. So let's get this off the screen. Where can you use your Yakarl besides Fire Knight hard, or if you're not getting there yet? Faction wars, yes, 100% for the control aspect and the damage. Arena, yes, all the way up to gold 5. Or if you can build him strong enough, he can even fit in one of your 3v3 team. If you put your best gear on him, he can be a surprise nuker for live arena even. But yeah, he can be used in arena. That's what my point there. Dungeons and Doom Tower, yes, because of 2 things. So if we talk about Fire Knight hard build, though even if your gear level is not there yet, you'll build them fast with accuracy as a control champion, and the damage will be just an add-on. So he can be useful also in places like dungeons and Fire Knight Hard as well. He's void, let me repeat this. He is void, so he won't weak hit against any affinity. So that's Yakarl in a nutshell. Let's give him a quick test here in like my favorite testing place. We're pairing them with just a few champions here. Let me remove these. I want to compare him against like a decent damage dealer. So let's compare him against Wukong and Inithwi for now. I'm not even sure. Well, we'll check the gear and everything. Okay. So Armand is just here to keep everyone controlled, then decrease defense and weaken, and then we'll do our test here. So let's try first. So this is not a hard hitting skill for Wukong. And they are not in the same gears, they are not in the same level of damage. I understand this. I'm trying to reserve resources to test other stuff for you guys. Let's now test this. So I've seen anything like, let's say 30k average across the board, which is not bad for an AoE. Now let's test Yakarl's AoE. 40k, I've seen 40k, he took some of them down, plus the freeze. So he did a good AoE hit with a freeze as well. Now let's test the single target skills. We'll do the same. Okay, let's speed it up a bit till we get to the test. Decrease defense and weaken. And we'll test on the same guy and repeat. So this is a hard hitting skill from Wukong. Let's hope we won't cheap him. So 93, yeah, we cheaped him, we didn't take him down, but 90k, 93k. Now let's repeat the same with the other damage dealers that we have. And why I'm comparing against these two, it's random, but just comparing him against two good damage dealers, but not top tier ones. So let's hit someone else now. This is his A2 and it's really hard hitting. So remember that Wukong did 90k. 50k, so let's see Inithwi. Inithwi, of course, this is a hard hitting skill. So Inithwi did like almost 80k. So he's not high up in damage like Inithwi or Wukong, who are way stronger, probably even better build on my account. But the main thing here, because I built him super fast for Fire Knight Hard. Let's actually take him to Arena right now. Let's hope that we'll find a decent team to test against. I don't want anything that's too high there. Like this team can be good. So let me remove my team. My Arbiter is not even that fast. So let's just use Arbiter. Our Lydia, and if I can find Yakarl, we'll use him. Okay, just 3-man team. Let's see now. He won't weak hit. So we're faster. Thankfully, I'm not that high up. They have shields, so it's a good test there. Okay. Let's start with the AoE to control everyone. His AoE, because that's the difference between Doom Tower Hard and everything else, took both Horndicks down and almost killed Sail as well. If we just give him a chance for a second hit, I didn't even check how much he hit for there. Let's put it at 1 speed, and of course he's way slower than everyone else. Okay, he'll get a turn now. Let's test his A2 against Sail. 140k in Arena. That's really strong. Okay, let's lose this battle and compare it against the other guys. So Wukong probably will take him down, but let's see. Okay, same thing here. And let me test Wukong's A2 against Vizix, for example. 124k. So still, if we talk Arena, though, like Wukong hit harder in Doom Tower, Yakarl definitely in Arena hits hard. Let's me bring him back again because I missed how much his AoE did. and I want to compare him against Wukong once more. This guy is getting a lot of medals from us. Well, points, not medals, but yeah. So that's his A2. Let's now slow it down. I want to see the damage. So he did 60 to 75k in AoE damage. Now let's bring back Wukong to see his damage. Of course, Wukong has affinity problems. He will hit okay against the Herndix. Oh no, he's not. He will weak hit. Okay, I misspoke there. For some reason, I remember Herndix being spirit. But yeah, let's see. Against weak affinity and everything, how strong he will hit for. Okay, he hit weaker than Yakarl. This is my point. He can be your arena nuker. And if you bring someone else as an arena nuker, you will just clean up after them. Like for example here, actually, what am I doing? One last test. Let's test them against my Hydra Tranda. Because Tranda is one of the hardest hitting champions. Just to be fair, I'll test him against her A3, not her A2. So let's see now. Remember, he did like what, 75k at his top damage. Yeah, no, of course, Tranda. Yeah, so that's Yakarl in a nutshell, and you can use him in arena. Let me show you my Yakarl build basically, because I want to like separate the sections properly. So this is my Yakarl build. Of course, if you're building him for arena, this isn't just like any sets there. You build him in lethal, cruel, or something like this. Let's check his stats. So he is a bit fast for an arena nuker, so not for today's arena. 250% crit damage is not high, and 4k damage. Basically, as an arena nuker, these are just like if he does that amount of damage with 4k attack and only 250 crit damage, that's great. Let me check my Wukong actually to compare. So Wukong in lower crit damage, but higher attack. So let's call it even, sort of. Especially that Wukong A2 hits harder, but Yakarl is a valid arena nuker. Don't sleep in this guy if you're lacking arena nuker. Build him, max him anyway. He deserves even, like I would say, I cannot say he deserves a book till I know who else you're comparing him against. But he's not a bad investment. He can be a control champion, an arena nuker, and he can help you even with PvE. So that's our first champion down. Now let's go to the second one, which is, no, I think he's on high elf. What am I thinking? Which is Neldor. Is Neldor worth maxing if you're not using him for Fire Knight Hard? The simple answer is yes for all three of them, by the way, if I haven't said it yet. He's a bit fast, being an elf. And then damage-wise, he got only 1.3 attack. He's attack-based, but he does hit hard. So attack 3 times at random with a chance of freeze. Again, same utility as Yakarl's A1. And then here he attacks 4 times with a chance to place decrease attack and decrease accuracy. We'll talk in a bit about where he can be used. And then his A3 puts decreased speed on everyone, which is good as semi-control, I would say, but he also hits hard. So now let's go and compare his damage, and then we'll see the builds and everything. Doom Tower hard 6 here. Let's actually compare him against Yakarl. Of course, he got only 1 AoE, so yeah, let's control him. Yeah. Decrease. Okay, he's faster than... Okay, let's use his A1 first. I didn't even check the damage there, we'll get to it, but yeah. Because he's faster than my Lydia. Okay. What am I thinking here? Okay. Let's go back. I'm not thinking straight. Let's remove this guy. And then we'll do the test now. Now we set it up properly. Let's first get use Yakarl's A1 because he's faster than him. Okay. Let's try his AoE. It's slowed down and everything. So I've seen How much damage did he do? Okay, let's just continue here. I will use Yakarl's A2 so we can compare the damage. Okay. A3, sorry. His AoE, I mean. Okay, so... Okay. So he did almost less than half the damage of Yakarl. Now let's test his single target hit, because I think it hits way harder than the other one. Okay, let's use this guy now. Okay, A1s again, till we get the decreased defense and weaken from Lydia. And let's try Yakarl's A2 first on that guy on the right. So 46k. And now let's try his quad hitter. Okay, come on, let's slow it down. So yeah, he did 12k in total, so he won't be your damage dealer there. Though utility wise for Fire Knight, he's really strong. Okay, so Neldor. What is the verdict for Neldor there before we check his build? He's useful only for Fire Knight. You can use him in Faction Wars as well, but realistically, he won't be useful much. Like, he won't be useful anywhere else much. My Neldor is super fast. The crit damage, of course, is not as high, or the attack, because all that I want from him is his utility. I want him to be as fast as possible with enough accuracy to land those freezes and keep the Fire Knight hard controlled. We didn't check Yakarl, so Yakarl is built for damage, so those are damage builds with the accuracy tree, with the support tree for his accuracy. Here it's the same more or less, but I chose Giant Slayer because, as I said, Neldor is not a straightforward damage dealer. So between the three of them, spoiler alert for Croidan that we'll test now, Neldor is the least useful outside of Fire Knight Hard. Though in Fire Knight Hard, I would say that he's way more useful than Croidan the Blue and even Yakarl. Like, if you're choosing for Fire Knight Hard, depending on which team you're using, between the three, Neldor wins the fight there, with of course Newt if you have Newt. But if you want to run 2 out of the 3, Criodan will come last, of course, but outside of Fire Knight, Criodan wins. Yakarl wins as damage dealer 100%, and Criodan the Blue wins for utility, which let's check him now actually. Okay, no, what am I doing? Let's check his kit first quickly before we give him his test. Sylvan Watcher, super fast. On his A3 on a 3-turn cooldown actually, he applies increased speed on Oral Lies for 2 turns and fills the turn meter. Exactly like Apothecary, but this is way stronger because he does other stuff. So, he keeps the team going fast and fills the turn meter. This is an amazing role. If you're early to mid game, if you don't have that role filled by anyone, Croidan is worth the investment. Not only for Faction War, for dungeons and everything. On his A2 then, on a 3-turn cooldown, his cooldowns are a little bit lower than the other guys, and that's why he's more useful. He hits 2 times with like what, 65% chance of applying AoE freeze. For a 2-hitter, this is amazing. He's a great control champion, and then hits 3 times with a chance of freeze there. So we will test his damage, but the main thing here is that Croidan is way more useful than the other guys if we talk about utility. Because he's providing a double role here. He's your speed boosting champion and your control champion as well. Actually, let me test him. He won't do much damage, so forget about the damage test. It's not relevant here. But let's go, for example, to Dragon 20, let's say. And let's bring a budget team with Croidan to show his value there. Okay, so this team I just put together. Jamarsa, forget about like the blessing level, it's not relevant here. But let me show you how useful they can be on this level. Fane is weak affinity, but I didn't want to think more about this, so yeah, whatever. So, you see here, of course he's fast because he's built for Fire Knight. He uses his AoE first. Everyone is frozen, nobody's taking a turn. And of course, Darkale will help with the waves and take care of the boss and everything, with Fane being the wrong affinity. But the main thing here, that's why I put this on auto, is that he's fast. He will help the team. You see, he already applied his increased speed with giving him the support tree to increase the duration of the buffs. That the duration of the freezes cannot be increased anyways. So give him a chance to increase the duration of his speed boost. And look at this. Nobody's taking a turn. Like this, probably Apothecary is about to take a turn. But even if all the other guys, damage dealing guys, nobody took even a single hit at us. I will cut this. I just showed you how he can control the waves. Bear in mind that those champs are not in good gear. Except for him and probably Geomancer, because I'm using elsewhere. This is leftover gear that I'm using in Centranos currently. He hits decently hard. He's not a damage dealer, but that's combined with the control factors that he's applying freezes. Like 2-hitter with a 65% chance is like 100%. Nobody ever took a hit at us on the 2 waves. And now we're getting to the boss. The boss won't be an issue, like Dark Ale and Fane will take care of him. But yeah, we'll just check his damage for comparison. We just took the boss down. Of course, the time is a little bit long because, yeah, this is not an optimized team. But if we check the damage, Fane is weak affinity, but she's a strong damage dealer. Of course, and Geomancer is Geomancer, but he did quite a good chunk of damage. If we comparing to Fane, like if Fane was neutral or strong affinity, probably she would have done like double this damage. So doing half of Fane's damage with the control and keeping the team going fast, this is really useful. Now let's check his gear and his masteries as well. So where's my Croidan? Here. I had to regear him because Neldor took his higher gear. I'm using Neldor now in Fire Knight. So you don't care about his crit rate, he's not a damage dealer. Give him accuracy, give him speed, and just make him a little bit tanky so he can take a hit. And he will be your speed booster, turn meter filler, and your control champion. So he's a great champion for this. If we summarize, the verdict is, Neldor is the least useful outside of Fire Knight Hard, though he's very useful there, probably more than the other 2 if we compare, depending on which team you have, of course, and what other champions you have. Croidan is extremely useful everywhere in the game except for PvP, except for Arena, though even in Arena, if you build him super fast, he can be your speed booster or your secondary speed booster there with the control aspect if you need it, but it's not a place where he will shine. In PvE, during like dungeons, Doom Tower, Centranos, he will definitely, and Faction Wars of course, he will be definitely useful everywhere else. Yakarl is useful literally everywhere. As a control champion in PvE, and as a damage and control champion in PvP. So Yakarl and Croidan, yes, don't hesitate, invest in them. Even if you didn't get to Fire Knight Hard stages yet, you're not there yet. Neldor, probably just keep him in the vault till you get to Fire Knight Hard, but once you get there, he will be extremely useful. I hope this one was helpful. Thank you for tuning in today. I'll see you next time. Bye.